The 2024 presidential election is getting closer and closer every single day. In fact, we are only about 3 months, or actually 4 months, away from the 2024 presidential election. Of course, I'm talking about the US presidential election. And there are many conundrums and many things to think about. Let's just put it in that way. And these elections are actually going to be pretty interesting. Let's put it in that way. This, guys, is a video about the 2024 presidential election. This is the first video I make about politics, and it's not going to be a video about politics, really. It's going to be a video about politics, but it's going to be different from the videos you would expect. I'm not from the USA, but, I got kind of interested. I even watched the debate, and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about, Biden and Trump and potential things which could happen, potential scenarios in case Biden were to be replaced, in case Trump were to go to jail, and all of those possible things which could happen. Guys, this video is going to be divided in maybe 5 points, and, the first one, we're going to talk about the two main candidates broadly. Of course, there are also other candidates, especially RFK Jr. Then we're going to talk about the 2024 presidential debate, which went live 3 days ago, 4 days ago, 5 days ago. Today's the second, which lasted 5 days ago. And then we're going to talk about Biden specifically. We're going to talk about what are the circumstances around him. Will he be replaced? Should he be replaced? We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about his legal case, of course, the accusations against him. We're going to talk about whether he will go to jail or not. Last but not least, I'm going to tell you how I think this election will play out in the end, and I'm actually going to do something which I would call risky, at least, but I'm going to do it anyway, because this is a little bit the idea of the channel. The idea of the channel is to not be afraid, really, of saying what you want to say. And I'm actually going to talk about the conspiracy theory I have personally, and then I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win elections. And it's going to be, I think, an interesting video. This is the first video, as I said, I make about politics, but it's going to be a good one, I think. I hope at least. Okay, so of course subscribe to the channel, guys. The goal is to get to 100 subscribers by the end of August. Really, there are going to be shorts about this video. There are going to be, I'm going to do shorts about this video in order to maybe attract more people. But guys, let's subscribe, and please, let's get to 30 subscribers by the end of the 4th of July. Share the video, call 4 people you know, and tell them to subscribe, and then we got it. But the goal is to get to 100 by the end of August. And they actually have ambitious goal. I'd like to get to 500 by the end of the year. I know it's a bit difficult, but goals and ambitions have to be difficult. If they're not real goals. Let's start with the general introductions. So the first point, we're going to talk about the two candidates. We have President Biden at the moment, President Joe Biden, who's the president of the United States of America, and he's been the president for now 3 years and a half. He's got 6 months left of his first term, and he's now running for re-election. President Joe Biden is 81, unless I'm mistaken, and he turns 82 this year, and he's, the Democratic nominee at the moment, even though it could be replaced. We will find out. We're going to talk about that, of course, because it's one of the biggest topics of the 2024 election. And he's very old. He's the oldest president in the history of the United States. And if he were to win, of course, he would beat that record. If Trump were to win, he's going to beat that record. He will beat that record. And, he's been the president now for 3.5 years. I'm not going to get into the things he did, because I don't know, to be fair. I don't know much. And, he's the Democratic nominee. As I said, he's running for re-election. He's pretty old. He's been into politics for 50 years, 50 and something years. I think that, he's been part of politics since he was 30 years old, and now he's 81. So, he has a very long career. and he has a lot of experience, certainly. Then we have Donald Trump, former President Donald J. Trump, who, on the other hand, is a little bit younger, so he doesn't look 3 years younger than Biden or 4 years younger than Biden. It looks like he's 15 years younger than Biden, given the cognitive decline which Biden has had in the last years. And we're going to get into that, certainly, because that's the biggest problem related to Joe Biden. And, President Trump has been into politics for the last, 10 years almost. I mean, he ran for president in 2015. He announced his campaign in 2015, and he was the president of the United States of America from 2017 to 2021. He won the 2016 election against Hillary Clinton, and then he lost the 2020 election against Joe Biden in 2020, as I said. And now he's running for presidency again. And it certainly is going to be interesting to see which candidate will win, and if those two are going to be actually candidates. So this was just a very broad and simple introduction of the two candidates. Now let's go to the first 2024 presidential debate, which was held by CNN on the 27th of June. And I watched the debate. That's the first debate I ever watched. The first presidential debate. I was curious. I was in Greece. I came back yesterday. I was in Greece, so I woke up at 4 a.m. I watched the debate, and the outcome wasn't the outcome the Democrats and Biden hoped for. Biden, wanted certainly to debate better. He didn't debate well whatsoever. And Trump didn't debate perfectly either. I think that Trump did a good job. Trump did what he had to do and what we could have expected him to do. Even though he lied, both of them lied. Even though he exaggerated, and both of them exaggerated. I think that what Trump did, we're going to talk about now, the main strategy in my eyes of the 2024 debate. What Trump did really well was letting Biden dig his own grave.
We'll do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
Because Biden, we know that Biden's cognitive ability, and now everybody looks, concerned and interested in the fact that Biden's cognitive ability has significantly declined in the last years. Now everybody highlights that, but Biden has been declining a lot, and it's exponential. There are different stages of, he has probably dementia, and it's normal when you are that old. Those are things which could happen. In fact, most of the populace of the USA thinks that he's not fit for office, and also half of the populace of the USA thinks that Trump is not fit for office. But Trump looks intact. Let's put it that way. Biden didn't look fit whatsoever in his debate. His performance was a disaster. He was mumbling, stuttering. He was struggling a lot. He couldn't put sentences together.
Legally, it's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
And to be honest, I thought that, he was going to be put on drugs, and he was probably put on drugs. Probably, because the problems he has are clear, and I think that you have to be blind not to, see that Biden clearly has problems. And honestly, I think that the biggest mistake the Democrats did, because now I don't think they can come back from this. The biggest mistake the Democrats did was not to convince Biden to step aside, because Biden shouldn't have run for re-election. He clearly cannot run. Clearly, I think. There is no doubt about it. And the debate, which should have been the moment where Biden actually showed the world that he was fit for office, he didn't show that. He wasn't fit. He didn't look good in any way. He was struggling to speak. On the other hand, Trump was calmer than usual. It was a better Trump than usual. I think that Trump did what he had to do. And regardless of the lies he told, regardless of the things he says, what the biggest thing about this debate was Biden's fitness. And we clearly saw that he's not fit. We clearly saw that he's not fit. And now, of course, there are many questions which are being asked. Is Biden really the president of the USA, or are the people behind him the ones actually deciding for him, which is 99% certainly the case. So this is the biggest takeaway from the debate. Biden is clearly struggling, and this debate, I think that they did this debate. I mean, Biden had to prove that he was still fit for office. He didn't prove that whatsoever. Actually, what he did was digging his own grave. That's what he did, more or less. And when it comes to Trump, what Trump did very well was to stay calm and not attack Biden. Because, I mean, the first debate that they did in 2020 was a disaster by Trump, honestly, and a disaster by the moderator as well. So, Trump did a good job in my eyes. I don't think he lied. He did what Trump does, but what Trump saying, I wouldn't call them outrageous, but Trump saying unorthodox things or, kind of crazy things doesn't impress people anymore, because he's been doing that for years. On the other hand, what disappointed people was Biden's situation. So that's the biggest takeaway of the debate. Biden is not fit. Trump, on the other hand, is more fit than Biden. However, that's something that that's something which I don't only think about, but in my eyes, both of them are too old. And most of the Americans think this too. Both of them are too old. Let's talk about Biden. So, will Biden be replaced? Should he be replaced? That's the third point of the video. Well, will he be replaced? I don't think he will. And I don't think they should replace him either. Because they've been endorsing him for years. The Democrats, they've been saying that he's fit for office. They've been saying that he's fine. Now you cannot say, all of a sudden Biden has problems. And that would be incoherent. And I don't think that replacing Biden would work in their favor. I don't think it would, to be honest. And then the other question which we all think about is, are there any Democrats which would win against Trump? Are there any? Kamala Harris, the current vice president, I don't think she would win, because she's less popular than Biden is, and Biden is losing in the polls against Trump. So I think, that Kamala Harris wouldn't win. She wouldn't become the president. Gavin Newsom, the leader of California, would he win with 4 months only? I don't think he would win. So, in my eyes, that's my idea, Biden shouldn't be replaced, and Biden won't be replaced in the end, because he's the only one who stands chance against Trump. There is Michelle Obama, but she's not gonna run. She's already said that numerous times. So I think, that the potential Democrats who could come in instead of Biden, I think that none of them would stand a chance probably against Trump. None of them would win against Trump. The only one who has a real chance of winning is President Biden. President Biden won in 2020, the election, when he was far more fit than he is now, even though he was already declining, of course, because he was at the time 78 years old. So he was already struggling. But I think that none of the Democrats now would win against Trump. So the Democrats have to go with Biden. And the mistake the Democrats made was not convincing Biden to step down before. They should have convinced Biden not to run for the White House for another 4 years. But they should have done that earlier. They should have done that 1 year ago, 2 years ago, instead of now, where all the world has seen and saw how bad his fitness is, given that being the US president is a very difficult job and a very exhausting one. And he's clearly not ready he's clearly not fit for office. And I mean, he gave a good speech the day after the debate. That's true, but it wasn't drugs. I mean, we all know that. Come on, guys. I think it is clear. Biden cannot get by without drugs, and it is normal. In order to pump him up, they have to give him drugs, because if they don't give him drugs, it's not gonna be capable of putting sentences together, and that's a very big problem. If Biden had been younger, my idea, he would have won against Trump with not many problems. I mean, he won in 2020, and Trump made a very big mistake in the debate, and Trump made mistakes there. He won in 2020. If he were younger now, I think he would win. But he's 82 years old, and the biggest problem is not the fact that he's 81. The biggest problem is that his cognitive ability is rather bad, not in my eyes. It is bad. And I'm not the only one saying this. Even CNN is saying this. CNN hates Trump. Then the fourth point is former President Trump, who's the favorite to win this US election. And the biggest problem for Trump is whether we'll go to jail or not. So that's the biggest problem for Trump. That's the biggest enigma surrounding his campaign and surrounding his potential run for president of the United States, is his potential, win. And at the moment, Trump is leading the polls against Biden, and, he's been doing better and better as time goes on. Since he announced his run for president of the United States, he's been doing better and better, and he has been winning in the polls in the last months. However, I don't think that the election will be as one-sided as the polls say now. I think it's going to be a very close one. However, Trump is the favorite to win, but it is going to be a close one. I don't see, unless of course Biden debates even worse than he did in September. If Biden were to have another very, 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 very bad and even worse performance than he had 5 days ago on September the 10th, then that would be problematic, of course, because at that moment you cannot replace Biden unless, heaven forbid, he dies, or unless something very bad happens to him. At that moment, you couldn't. In that moment, you cannot replace Biden anymore, and you have to stick with him. So the biggest problem for Trump is that. And actually, yesterday, on July the 1st, the Supreme Court ruled that Trump has absolute immunity for official acts. So, that's a very positive news for Trump. That's some very positive news for Trump, and that's, of course, very good for him. Then he's going to be sentenced on the 15th of July, or in like 2 weeks. I don't know when he's going to be sentenced. I'm going to tell you now. Trump, is going to try to postpone his sentence in order to, become the president and then be immune, from my understanding. So that's what he's trying to do. However, he should be sentenced he may be sentenced in 2 weeks now, and if he were to go to jail, that would be a big problem. That would be a big mess for many reasons. What if Trump goes to jail? That's a very important question that we're all asking. What if he goes to jail? If he goes to jail, I don't think he's going to retire. There is nothing which prohibits him from running. He can still run for president from jail. He could still win elections from jail. And if the US were to have a president in jail, that would be disastrous. Disastrous because, I mean, that would be ridiculous. That would be the absolute craziness. That would be, that would be a disaster. So the biggest issue for Trump is his sentence. Will he be sentenced? Will he be thrown in jail? We don't know. If he gets thrown in jail, then that's a big problem. Because the Republicans may, they may try to convince him to step down and step aside, and that's a very big problem for the election. Because if Trump goes to jail, then we'll know what's going to happen. We'll know what's going to happen, and there is a possibility that he goes to jail. That's the biggest hinder in Trump's campaign. Absolutely, that's the biggest problem. If he doesn't go to jail, I think he's the favorite, and if he manages to, get away with a not so harsh sentence, then he has very good chances to win the election. Fifth point, last but not least, the last point is who is going to win the election. The favorite now is President Trump, former President Trump. However, here it's where things get interesting. I'm going to talk about a conspiracy theory I have. And this is not funded nor based on facts, we could say. But that's just an idea I have. This is just an idea I have. And this is something I think will happen. I think that the Democrats at the moment are panicking, and I think that they don't want Trump in power. They don't want him in power, because for all the history that there is with Trump. And for that reason, I believe that something very sinister and unexpected is going to happen. Guys, this is an idea I have, and I've been saying this for months. Maybe I'm going to be completely wrong. Maybe I'm going to be spot on. I hope I'm wrong. Not because I support Trump. Not because, I hope that I'm wrong, because if I were to be right, and if this video were to get popular, who knows what can happen. I think, and this is a very crazy take, and probably I shouldn't say this, because it's very risky, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that former President Donald J. Trump will be assassinated. And this sounds crazy, but this is an idea I have. I feel it's going to happen. I feel that something is going to happen. And I feel that Trump will not be the president. He won't be the president. I think he won't. And the only way, other than rigged elections, which it's improbable and too difficult, the only way they could get Trump out is by assassinating him. That's the only thing they can do, other than throwing him in jail. But I'm not so sure that Trump in jail wouldn't win. I'll be honest, because there is this very big idea that there is this attack against Trump, this political attack. And I don't know if Americans are going to believe in a potential jail sentence of former President Trump. So I think that the Democrats will try everything, and in general, the establishment, let's put it in that way, will try everything not to have Trump in power. And if an assassination is going to be what is needed, I think they're going to do it. This is crazy. I shouldn't say this. There are some people who believe this is going to happen, and let's find out. But this is my idea. I think Biden is going to win, because Trump is not going to be he's going to be assassinated. That's my prediction. As crazy as it sounds, I shouldn't say this. It's a very big risk. I shouldn't take such a big risk. What if this video gets popular? I thought about those things, but I said whatever. I already shared my opinion on Instagram. I already taken the risk, and as long as the video doesn't get popular, it's not going to be a problem. What if it gets popular? We don't know. Guys, this is the end of the video about the 2024 election, the 2024 presidential election between President Trump and President Joe Biden. This is the oldest election of all time without a doubt. The two candidates together are 160 years old, 159 at the moment, 78 plus 81. And this election is a very important election because it is going to be historic for the next 4 years. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope that I didn't bore you. I hope it wasn't boring. See you in the next video, guys. I love you.